Thank you very much for that. I'm hoping that in the next 20 minutes I can give you a bit more background on how you can use Stellarium, which you've heard about just before, in a far more encompassing and far more explorative way than can be imagined from what is already amazingly impressive in the presentation that Georg gave just before. So, as said, it's about sacred spaces. I'm bracketing out the sacred spaces as spaces that, in a sense, are special to us, and we have selected one specific space. I'll get to that. And we're going to enlighten, hopefully, you with the non-side dialectic that we're going to use here. So, in a way, first of all, I'm going to present the idea of Stellarium as a skyscape experience. And my challenges and struggles I've had to face with that, and seeing there might be some problems, and trying to turn that around, given some inspiration drawn from land artists, that these are actually opportunities rather than challenges. And present to you a skyscape project that we have been running together with the Sophia Center as well. Give you a current status. My students are still writing and reviewing this and concluding. So first of all, skyscape experiences in Stellarium. We have the opportunity using Stellarium, as you could see, to wind back time to simulate what is present in the sky above. We're also able, and Georg showed us beautifully, we can also give you an amazing view of realistic landscapes as they are presented. So in a way, it seems to combine everything that a skyscape experience needs. There are some caveats there. If you're looking at a skyscape experience, I think there was a nice diagram that Tora showed, taken from Fabio taken from me, when I was talking about my first ideas a few years ago on dialectic landscape as one of the key components to develop this kind of skyscape experience, where you draw together many aspects, not only visible in the sky, not only visible in land or aspects of the sea, but all coming together in, Tora presented it through a taskscape. I would actually go further. Taskscape brings in the beautiful aspect of time, rhythm as well, all focused through people and culture acting in there. So our playing experience brings that to life. As such, it's very clear that this will have to include some kind of temporality and some kind of emotional connection, for example, through memories as well. So this whole thing comes as a package. That's why I put in the dialectic landscape, which lives from a multitude of aspects, memories, symbols, icons that come together that do not give you a message, they do not give you a sequence of predefined discovery, but give you a conglomerate situation of many aspects that you as an individual, as a viewer, can then negotiate to then for yourself deduct a meaning. So last year we did a project where we tried to develop a skyscape for our university specifically, Nottingham-Trent, and given that we learned talking to artists that were informing our work, again this was a collaborative project between an astronomer and an architect in this case, that was very clearly felt that it was only a simulation. In our experience of the size of our campus to develop this skyscape experience in Stellarium, it was clearly recognized that we explored the site at daytime and some at nighttime. So there wasn't a continuous exploration of joining this day and night feel. If you see in Stellarium, you can see there's an important aspect missing in Stellarium, which is clearly there because it's a simulation as is, that you don't have the clouds there. That can be applauded because we don't want clouds to see the beauty of the sky, but sometimes if you're saying, oh, the moon looks beautifully offset with these clouds moving in front of it, it looks eerie. Sometimes this cloudscape can give you that. Sometimes I couldn't have wished for better weather. We are not on top of a landscape. We are within a weatherscape, within a whole system of what is in our environment. Well, that seems to be lacking there as well. Stellarium can offer a lot, but it obviously will struggle with a lot of extra information that we're getting. We're not getting smells, we're not getting sound in there as well. One thing that is quite interesting and is maybe present in the themes of some of the presentations, but the horizon line has become in art astronomy especially powerful. And Stellarium in our presentation will draw your eye automatically to the horizon line, ignoring what sometimes is happening above or beyond. And you have to struggle to detach yourself. But it was still present in our image. Here on the right is one of these views. So we were seeing that we're excluding certain experiences that we might say are key essential for our skyscape experience. So that left us with a sort of a feeling of achievement, but a feeling of that, can we actually ever attempt to create a valid skyscape experience when using Stellarium? Because you are sitting in front of a screen. Beautiful is if you extend the screen to 100 square meters, you get this monumentality. But is that still giving you a valid skyscape experience? Bring in possible solutions of recognizing this challenge. And this is where I hark back to land artists that are quite important and famous, maybe infamous in certain ways as well. James Turrell on the left and Robert Smithson on the right, who isn't with us at the moment. James Turrell is still alive. So both of these have produced immense and very impressive works of land art to experience in all ways and matters. And I've taken these up because when we're talking about skyscapes, we're talking about materiality, of how that is manifested as well. I think what sort of bracketed out is what these two artists have done. They've realized and acknowledged that light is an essential part that we can tap into. So this is what you could maybe place at the edge of materiality, but they're using light as a medium, not to present, but to form. So some of their installations actually show as if light was a material blocking something, displaying something. And Robert Smithson in this case is recognizing space itself as being something that is present and that we can shape and use to explore as well. So as I briefly illustrated on the left, James Turrell thinks of using light in his works of art to sort of change the perception, change how light is perceived as well, and especially playing with his ways of seeing here. And he's very interested in actually not creating views out, but showing what is happening outside in the monument. So in a way, he's bringing the event into the space. So I'll try to use Turrell's words to illustrate that. So for one extent here, in an interview with South Cook in the 80s, he's saying here, attention is not directed to the event, but to the space itself. It is the space that responds in some manner when the event occurs. In other words, it's our own way of forming the response with the event. And one of his setups is in Rogan Crater, specifically impressive. He's reformed and used a extinguished volcano for one of his installations. Another reason I chose this crater is that I'm interested in the state of mind emerging by looking into fire. It is not thinking, it is a wordless thinking that is pure primal sort of thinking. I looked for the spaces that are empowered by the kind of light presence that has that quality. So again, stressing the quality of light being able to change that and putting you into this kind of primordial thinking. So thinking without thinking, in a way, something presenting aspects without giving you a linear narrative to get to a final end. It is up to you to explore this in an emotional way. Robert Smithson then brings in something that I like quite a lot, this idea of size and non-size. Because if we're looking at Stellarium, that represents itself quite likely as something that is building upon this dialectic. But Smithson is quite clever in his way that he's acknowledging and nodding towards the dialectic of size and non-size, and intentionally this word on sight and non-sight, so seeing and non-seeing perception. And rather than presenting these dialectics in a Stellarium manner, strictly logically proceeding through the steps of gathering a higher, truer meaning, he's actually playing on this kind of dialectic in a way that if Simpson's art, this is taken from Simpson's unresolved dialectics, if Simpson's art rested on either or propositions, it will not be so difficult to understand. But rather than an either-or situation, he created a both-and proposal, where the both is either-or, the and adds up to confusion. And the combination of the three terms is equally valid and useless at the same time. So he intentionally plays with this idea and intentionally avoids presenting a meaning. He's allowing you to decide what is then going to be negotiated from you at that point of time, what is meant and what you are then using to explore a sense of being in the Heideggerian way there as well. So, in a way, if you're then throwing that at the side, non-site concept, you can look at site and try to put it onto this kind of thing, but on site, the concept of a pure non-site. On the other side, a concept of a pure site. So let's try to think, oh, well, Stonehenge might be a good site. Yes, apart from when you realize that if you're approaching Stonehenge, there are clear monuments that are trying to encapsulate abstract ideas, put into stone into the landscape, put into wood into the landscape, access ways. So in a way, you're not seeing a pure material only site. There's a lot of constructs that go in there to further develop that. So that is close to a site, but it's nowhere near what is thought as a concept of a pure site. So it might be something completely meaningless where just the material is there, like a road is just there, you drive over, as such it's not there. But the meanings are deeper, so it's a spectrum. On the other side, you might think installations like the non-site that completely remove yourself from the site and just bring aspects of the site into a non-space like a gallery might invoke this kind of non-site experience. Yes, but it's still a gallery. It still has meaning, context, what is around. There's still walls and things that are there. It has a meaning. So you might think, oh, Stellarium might be then getting close to that, as I would have thought as well. But then again, I think, and looking at Smithson's work, a concept of a non-site remains more as a thinking construct, as an idea. As soon as you start to manifest itself on a computer screen, you're then giving it presence, and it becomes a certain size. And we can see how different that can be, either on 100-meter square area or on your laptop. So it's nice to remember that maybe just bringing up the idea that you can think of a starry sky above you as a non-site and the site on the ground as a site. But again, this is a spectrum of sort of one side to the other where you can then negotiate and all of that. Bringing the Skyscape project now. Here, we've been investigating, this is sort of the research question and how we've approached investigating Skyscape experiences in Stellarium in context of site, non-site dialectic. So seeing what can we learn from that. And given the time frame we had available, we used a specific site. This is the James Turrell installation called Skyscapes, Deer Shelter in the Yorkshire Sculpture Park. So we visited that site, and we intentionally visited it over a period of time. So we went there late afternoon, explored it, stayed overnight at the site, revisited during the night, saw key sunrise, sunset, then slept on site, then woke up, saw in the morning how the site reacted, and then left. So in a way, an improved engagement, because we had a period of time where the key factors of sort of the day and night rhythm were explored. It is still a short project covered by the undergraduates, so it has certain constraints. And again, it's a collaboration, this time astronomer and a artist collaborating here for this. They are my two students at work. On the left is Phil, on the right is Amanda. So, structure of this, a method of this research, so far what we have done is we have tried to act with this kind of reflexive cycle. So we have created a Stellarium landscape as you would do. I traveled, took the landscape images, merged them together, created a view of what is as a realistic landscape. They had it as a Stellarium landscape, never set foot into the actual site, and explored the site only using Stellarium. They gathered a lot of photographic video recordings of their engagement, how they acted with that. Then they went to the site, they created their own imagery responses, and from that, they have just completed now their own Stellarium landscape. So that they can now, back in Nottingham, back at the university, engage again on the computer with now their Skyscape. So what this achieves is they're creating outputs in the very first step before they visit the site, gone through the cycle, and we're then getting to their last output where they're actually then comparing theoretically the same things, apart from at this time they have created a Skyscape in a completely different manner than we would by just capturing photorealistic images and putting them together. So we're exploring what happens. And you can imagine that this is an endless cycle. I've used a nice image of the spiral from the spiral jetty from Smithson. I'm seeing this rather as a projection of a cycle that goes into infinity, never reaching an actual point. Very comparable to what Smithson is looking at when he's talking about that there's actually no The meaning what he wants to give. Actually, he would talk about, I would like to present my artwork in the context of meaning and non-meaning, and let you explore what that means. So as such, I'll show you just some imagery that's been captured here. This is the skyscape, skyscape window from the inside looking out. There's the window at the top. You can see how that perception changes as sun sets. That is their completed Stellarium landscape now. And that is their landscape in action, zoomed in to one aspect of the landscape, which is their recreation of the Skyscapes window in Stellarium. Just letting time pass as we will approach sunset. Note in this part you've experienced the complete disappearance and diffuseness of the bottom of the sky window. So again, the play of light and colours. Gradient of the light fading down. If you take your time, you'll be seeing how the gradient slopes down, the brightness seems to recede to the bottom, to the stage when you feel the reverse action pulling you up. Let this run until we see the first stars. So what they have achieved is they've explored, and they have noticed that in any form of marriage, they have always explored the sites with sight aspect and non-sight aspect in mind, both at the same time. They have fully sort of noticed the kind of multi-sensory aspect. In a way, they've noticed the movement of sheep without them expecting it. The whole site was covered in sheep. So while they were working all the sheep on their own move to a designated area. That wasn't a pen or so, they just all decided they wanted to move to that field to fall asleep. So they were in that area while they were doing their work. They noticed by themselves the kind of color changes and perceptions. Maybe you picked up how disorientating it can be to observe the clouds under that window. You don't know, at the beginning you can see the clouds they move, but then when you start to move, is it now me moving or the clouds moving, giving a certain kind of disorientation there as well. They definitely acknowledge this influence of how the site acted upon them, actually creating the final location for their landscape was guided by the site. They had an idea, they were discussing moving around the site, and at some stage they remained fixed. They said, this actually works really well. Not because let's look for the site, they were discussing and they saw the site. So at the moment we have an ongoing reflection of their work, and they are sort of coming to the final steps of concluding what their research has achieved. So in brief, so in a way, you can say that the non-site is a very powerful way of, I think, is tapping into the skyscape experience. And as I hopefully showed, it's vital to show how light is brought into the site. Also this, not out, but inwards looking. Inward in both senses, inwards towards us, inwards towards the site itself, the stone, the component, what is there, what is happening. The skyscape experience does not exist. We cannot recreate the skyscape experience that is done there. Even attempting to recreate it from thought experiments, I think, will falter. What it is recognizing we can get the method towards assessing, and we understand how it is achieved. That might be the first step to learn more about what the site offers. The Stellarium, I hope I could show you, it acts superbly as a non-site at some extreme of the spectrum with its variety of colors, where you can now try to explore aspects that aren't intentionally there to limit for Stellarium program in combination with day and night, and also trying to overcome maybe a big problem of you're trying to represent a skyscape experience which is built up out of a multitude of experiences. So in a way, you're trying to create a landscape of landscapes as well. But again, I hope that this short snippet has illustrated that quite nicely, and thank you very much.